I asked different suppliers for free single board computers to check what I can do with Java and Pi4J. The first step is to boot them up and verify that I can install and run Java on them. In this video I'll do that with an Orange Pi 5 Ultra, this one, which has an ARM processor and looks a lot like a Raspberry Pi 5. And I also have an Orange Pi RV2, which has a RISC-V processor. Also looks a lot like a Raspberry Pi, by the way. In a previous video I showed you a Latte Panda IOTA, which has an x86 processor. So this means I now have boards with all types of processors, and for the first time in my life I'm using a RISC-V. To better understand the difference between all these processors, so the x86, the ARM and the RISC-V, I wrote a blog post with more information. Check it out on webtechie.be. The most important takeaway is that RISC-V is a community effort, just like OpenJDK, which provides the Java programming language and the virtual machine that runs it. In my opinion, OpenJDK and RISC-V could make a strong team. As part of my 2026 learning goals, I'm going to experiment more with all these, so expect more blogs and videos around this topic. But now let's actually boot up these Orange Pi boards. I received them on the last day of 2025 and they were desperately waiting on my desk to be tested. Orange Pi sent me these boards for free, but the content of this video is my own experience and no money was exchanged to influence what I show or say. These are the boxes and all the stuff that Orange Pi has sent me, an Ultra, an RV2, two little boxes and two power supplies. In these little boxes is an eMMC module of 256 gigabytes. I'm not going to use it today for these experiments, so we'll come back to that later. So that's what inside this bag. A single memory chip on a little board that you can click on the Orange Pi boards. Let's put these aside and see what's inside the boxes. So the Pi 5 Ultra is a similar board to the Raspberry Pi 5. It definitely looks the same, except this wire, which is a bit stuck here and is now loose. So that's the Wi-Fi antenna. But for the rest, like the GPIO header, it all looks the same. Connections also look the same. One big difference is the HDMI connectors, which are full size. Okay, let's see what's in the second box. The RV2. So this is a board with a RISC-V processor. We see that the layout of the connectors is completely different. Again, we have 4 USBs, but the HDMI connection is on its side. The same for the USB-C. We have the same kind of wire antenna for the Wi-Fi. The X1, this is the RISC-V processor, a memory chip, and a smaller GPIO header. And at the back, that's where you can attach the eMMC memory. The same way you can do it on the 5 Ultra. If you compare the size, that's almost identical. Also almost identical to a Raspberry Pi. By the way, this is a Raspberry Pi 4. Which has the network connection on the other side compared to the Raspberry Pi 5. So this is a Raspberry Pi 5. As you can see, between the 4 and the 5, the location of the network port has changed. But if you compare it to the Orange Pi 5 Ultra, then we see that they have the same layout. Also USB type of connectors is the same. The HDMI is different. So we have 2 full-size HDMIs, but they are labeled as in and out. So I should check out what this specifically means and how you can use this. Now the size of the RISC-V board is the same, but as you can see, the connections are completely differently placed. So let's wire this for the first time as a test. The HDMIs are labeled as a TX and an RX, so we're going to use the TX. I connect it to an Ethernet cable, so Wi-Fi test is for later. I have a mouse and a keyboard, and the only thing we still need to do is also give it some power. So we have USB-C for that. Oh, and an SD card, of course, with the operating system. So this contains an Ubuntu image taken from the website of Orange Pi. On the screen in the background, you can see that this now boots. And we are immediately logged in. It wants to update. Let's do that. Let's see what happens. This doesn't seem to be the perfect way to do that. Let's just use the terminal and make sure that we are on the latest version of everything. So with sudo apt update. And the password for this, I had to look it up, is Orange Pi. And after apt has been updated, let's also do a sudo apt upgrade to indeed install everything which is available in new versions. This will take a while, so let's fast forward. Update upgrade has finished, so I also want to install SDKMAN, which is a very handy tool to install Java and other tools related to Java development. That's a one-line command, but it needs zip. So that's the first thing we need to install, apt install zip. Again, the same password, Orange Pi, very easy. For security reasons, we should change this immediately, but let's skip that step for now. Now that zip is installed, we can also install SDKMAN. To make full use of SDKMAN, you need to open a new terminal. And now we can just do SDK list Java, and it will show all the Java distributions which are available at this moment for the architecture we are running on. So it has detected that we are running on Linux ARM, and it shows a very long list. Let's use the latest Zulu with JavaFX included. That's 2501 at this moment. So to install it is just SDK install Java and then that specific version. Okay, Java is installed. Now let's clone this JBang repository. Java code that we're going to use for testing, which is available in the Pi4J project in a repository for JBang. We also need JBang, of course. That's again something we can install with SDKMAN. And now we can move into that JBang repository and do some tests. Within the basic directory, we have just plain Java examples like Hello World. And there's also one which uses dependencies, so JBang will handle that for us, and without the need of for a full Maven or Gradle project, we can use dependencies, in this case Jackson, to handle some JSON parsing. So that works perfectly. Let's try Pi4J. I don't expect this to work because that needs additional user rights which are not installed by default, so this should fail. It does find the dependencies that we need for this example. It actually starts it. It also uses some functions there of Pi4J to detect the board, which it shouldn't discover yet because it only recognizes Raspberry Pi boards. And it is the expected user right permission stuff. So that's something for a future blog post video. We'll see later. What I do want to try out is JavaFX. As we installed the Java runtime with JavaFX dependencies included, this should work without any issues. Yep, and then we have it with a canvas object and some moving balls. It recognizes the Linux system. It also recognizes the Java version, but not the board, because that's again something Pi4J tries to do. Let's move over to the RV2 board. So I already connected it, SD card, and here we have the system booting. Okay, and we arrive in a desktop environment. That's very nice. A few programs pre-installed. Let's just check what we have internally on this system. So it's actually an 8-core RISC-V system with 8 gigabytes of memory. There's no Java pre-installed. That would have been a big surprise. Now let's also first start with updating and upgrading this port. Orange Pi is again the password to be used with the Ubuntu image from the Orange Pi website. Okay, we updated, upgraded, restarted. Now let's check if we can install SDKMAN. Same issue, we first need zip. This feels a bit slower than when we were running this on the 5 Ultra version with the ARM processor. Now let's install SDKMAN. Okay, there it is. So again, we need a new terminal to be able to use SDK. Now let's first see if SDKMAN shows us any Java version, but it doesn't. It says available Java versions for exotic, and that is because RISC-V is actually not yet supported by SDKMAN. So we'll try to have that fixed in a future version, but that means we cannot use SDKMAN for an installation of Java. Let's just check which versions are available in the repositories of Ubuntu for this system. A long list, but we see that OpenJDK 25 is here. So sudo apt install and then OpenJDK 25 JDK. Okay, installation is finished. Now we should be able to check the version of Java with Java minus version. Okay, this already looks good. We have 25.01, the latest build that is available at this moment of the 25 version. So we already know that Java is working. Let's also install JBang. I'm using the command from the JBang website itself at this moment. Actually could have done this with SDKMAN, but this also works, of course. Again, we need to start a new terminal to be able to use this. And now we still need our test Java code to be able to see what's working and what's not working on this board. So it's the same Pi4J JBang repository that we are gonna clone onto this system. So let's start with the hello world first, of course. There we have it. Let's also try the one with the dependencies. That should work just as well. Okay, we have the expected output. Now, the Pi4J should also not work yet, as we didn't configure any additional user permissions and user groups and dependencies that we need for this. So this will fail the same way as we had on the Orange Pi 5 Ultra. Indeed, so that was expected. And the JavaFX example will not work because we installed an OpenJDK build without the JavaFX dependencies. As far as I know, there is no JavaFX available yet for RISC-V, so it's not something which will work out of the box immediately. We'll see later if this changes. So that's my first experience with these two Orange Pi boards. The Orange Pi 5 Ultra with its ARM processor is a real powerful thing. Java and JavaFX run smoothly and SDKMAN makes it easy to get started. The Orange Pi RV2 with RISC-V is a different story. It's clearly a budget board for experimenters, what I love, and the benchmarks show it's still slower than ARM, but that's okay. RISC-V is maturing and boards like this help the ecosystem grow. I've written a detailed blog post with all the specs, installation steps, links to benchmark comparisons and more. Check it out on webtechie.be. In my next video, I'll test another RISC-V board. It's the Vision 5.2 Lite. So that will be my second RISC-V board that I start. If you're experimenting with Java on single board computers, let me know in the comments or reach out on Mastodon, Blue Sky or LinkedIn. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to follow along with my 2026 learning journey. I plan to do much more with these boards. Thanks for watching.